The clients were planning on doing a renovation, specifically in addition to their house, which is the room that we're sitting in. It was previously a garage, and so we really started from scratch on this space. As this project evolved and it was having so much character and deliciousness, they started looking at, their other rooms, which were quite white, and wanting to bring in some of this flair and color and pattern into other spaces. I knew right away that this house was going to be very connected to the garden. I sort of visualized it as a garden room in terms of the vibe, in terms of the colors, and in terms of having so much glazing that actually the trees out back are part of the room. It was actually the client who realized that we were going to be able to not only go down, but also take some space upstairs and have this incredible ceiling height. I knew that we were going to also need to ground the room though. So I thought to have wood on the ceiling to keep the ceiling cozy. And then this idea of having the encaustic tiles on the floor, they feel very garden-like. They feel like they could go outside, and they're also just practical and cozy. The whole room speaks to sort of my philosophy. You should feel comfortable with your kids and your dogs, and you should also be able to sit in here with champagne in a ball gown, and you should be able to sit in here in your jammies and, spill some tea on something. It's all the things they love. It's things from their travels on the shelves that are very meaningful to them and biographical, and it's big comfy sofas. I definitely have a thing for mirror. Mirror is just a magical material. It reflects, it recedes, it sparkles. We're designing this beautiful room, and then someone comes along, often the husband, not always, but I'm gonna get my 75-inch TV, right? So 75-inch TV went up, but they use this house so much now, and they entertain a lot. So we decided to cover the TV, which I've done many, many times. And I used mirror to do that because in a room like this, it mostly reflects the garden and you get the sparkle of the flames from the fireplace. And again, it's just magic. The dining room was really a white box. The wife uses that room often as a study, and it just wasn't really a room that she felt gave much back. So I showed them this really incredible Gracie wave wallpaper that I've always wanted to use, having no idea how they'd react to it. They just went crazy. And funny enough, the children, they went totally crazy. So we went for it. The mirror was actually there. I love that, those happy surprises. And since it was mirror, obviously I loved it anyway. It doubles the room. That's another thing about mirroring ceilings, mirroring walls. I mean, I know people sort of think, oh, that sounds really 70s, but I think it depends how you do it. The ceiling in the dining room, it's actually not true lacquer, but it's painted on to look like lacquer. My painter used high gloss paint, and he just did an amazing application. And it was just a way of getting, more reflection into the room. Well, the living room was really tricky. It's a beautiful room, but they never used it. It's very long and narrow, and it has almost an anteroom tucked on to the end of it, which is where the fireplace is. And they'd never been able to figure out how to make the furniture work, so nobody used it, which is tragic. So we jiggled around furniture, and by using swivel chairs by the fireplace, I was able to make that work, for the couple to sit sort of intimately at the fire, and then also to swivel around and be part of the room when there's 10 people in there. When we realized this was actually going to be a big TV and not a plaster installation, the wife was like, well, there is that fireplace in the living room that you can't even really see. So we took that out, freed up the opening, and did the plaster flame installation at that fireplace instead, which really brought the fireplace into the room.
And then what did you do around that?
Well, obviously, then I had to mirror around it. All the proportions in that end of the room are quite strange. So I mirrored the ceiling in there, which stretches up that plaster fireplace to a sort of double height effect. It also makes that end of the room really sparkle and not be a dark cave. The kitchen had been done a decade earlier, but it's walnut and beautiful stone, and it was just chic. We moved some art around, but other than that, it sits really nicely in the house. They cook a lot and it works great for them, so we kept it. So naturally, as the main floor evolved, the clients want their principal bedroom to have the same kind of deliciousness as everything else was now having. So we did a whole makeover of the principal suite and the ensuite. The clients are the inspiration. And they wanted some drama and some glamorama, so we gave it to them. The bedroom itself is sort of a square box. It needed some curves and deliciousness, so I took a mid-century Italian kind of vibe and made this enveloping headboard for them. It's actually her bathroom. He has a separate ensuite, so I just wanted a place that she would go into and just explode with gorgeousness. The client has the most magical blue eyes, and so we silver papered the walls and we painted all those blue poppies all over, which are sort of the color of her eyes, and she just looks amazing in there. I think it helps start the day. This house, to me, it just answers what I think is important about a home, which is that it's biographical, it's meaningful, it's practical, it's cozy. You know, we have 4 distinct seasons. I think it feels really good in all of them. It makes them look good and it makes them feel really happy. And I think, you know, on a more interior design level, it's wonderfully eclectic. Nothing is so statement-y that it screams louder than the people in it. I think it will serve them well for a long time to come.